Hello, everybody. We're going to do a quick, short little episode today. We're going to be going over the latest and greatest news of the day. Ben Shapiro getting burned by some old-ass British fella. I'm going to be listening to it and critiquing it, or just talking shit about it. I'm here with my good friend Juanga.
What's up?
We're just going to be watching this video. It was pretty fantastic.
Can I do that again? It sounded like a black one.
Yeah, do it.
What's up?
That's worse. But yeah, due to some technical difficulties, this is the second time doing this. Hopefully this time it's not a fuck up. No, I had Kevin with me last time, but we were gonna just wait until next week to do this, but I was afraid that it might be a little outplayed, because I think as of when I first saw this, it was on Thursday, I think, and nobody was talking about it, and I was like, cool, I'll put it on the podcast. And then as of now, like, I've seen like 6 or 7 different like podcasters put it up.
You're late in the game.
I am, and I don't know if I can wait another week.
We'll get it right the third time, though. Right?
For sure. Hopefully. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and get started. This is Andrew Neil, and we'll go on with that. But yeah, it's Andrew Neil, some guy from BBC. He's an older fella. He's debating, or not debating, it's just an interview with Ben Shapiro about his new book.
Wait, this was on a book?
Yeah, it was about a book.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was about one of his books, and we'll get to that part at the end, because it's really funny. But yeah, here we go.
Ben Shapiro, you're followed by millions of people online and on social media. You're one of the biggest names in American conservatism. What is it you think you're tapping into?
Well, I think that there are a couple of things. One, there is actually a hunger for different ideas. The monolithic nature of the United States media is pretty evident in terms of its politics. People tend to agree on essentially the liberal point of view and increasingly a radical leftist point of view in the media. And obviously, I speak in response to that. At the same time, I try to provide an honest take on the issues of the day, and that means that I am not beholden to the Republican Party, for example. It means that I am going to speak out whenever I think that a principle is being violated, just no matter who is doing the violation.
You worked for the right-wing Breitbart website, but you left over its support for Donald Trump. And I think you've said you'd never vote for Mr. Trump. Why is that?
Well, in 2016, 2016, the Breitbart made a hard turn in favor of one particular candidate, and that's their prerogative. Lots of publications have an editorial point of view, and Breitbart was one of those. The reason that I left Breitbart specifically was because of an incident in which a Breitbart reporter, a female reporter, was grabbed on the arm by Corey Lewandowski, then the campaign manager for President Trump, and was bruised on the arm, and then Corey Lewandowski proceeded to lie about it, and Breitbart proceeded to throw its own reporter under the bus, suggest that she was lying or making this up. And at that point, I determined that I could no longer work for a publication that wasn't even willing to stand up for its own reporters, and instead would throw those reporters under the bus in favor of a candidate that it sought to back.
Haven't you lost your battle for the Republican Party, though? Isn't the Republican Party now the party of Trump?
No, I mean, I think that the Republican Party is always the party of whomever is the president, technically speaking. But in terms of who are the sort of the thought leaders inside the conservative movement, who are the people who are driving a lot of the discussion inside the conservative movement, I don't think that's correct at all. I think that most Republicans see President Trump as a vehicle for their policy preferences, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they agree with all of his personal foibles or the way that he behaves or the things that he says. And I think a lot of Republicans respond in anger to the media attacking President Trump, mainly out of a reactionary and half-appropriate upset that the media seem to have a double standard when it comes to covering certain politicians.
I'm interested that you think there's a thought movement inside the Republican Party. I mean, haven't the conservatives run out of ideas in America? All the new policies, the Medicare for all, $15 minimum wage, the Green New Deal, they're all coming from the left, and they're popular.
Well, frankly, I'm confused by the idea that any of those are particularly new ideas. I mean, most of those ideas have been around since Franklin Delano Roosevelt at the very earliest, or at the very latest, rather. Some of them go all the way back to Woodrow Wilson. But the idea that new ideas are absent in the Republican Party is obviously untrue. We have a very strong debate that goes on inside sort of the conservative halls of intelligentsia about what is the appropriate action to take with regard to the medical system. Should global warming be considered a real threat, or should global warming be considered something that technology will solve? And if so, what are the best aspects of solving that? Now, there's a rich intellectual debate on the right about nationalism versus patriotism, for example, or populism versus free marketeerism. That debate is happening on the right to sort of suggest that the right in America is bereft of ideas, but the left is full of ideas. Number one, not all ideas are good ideas. I mean, AOC is pretty good evidence of that. I'm a big fan of some old ideas myself that I think are pretty good. But beyond that, I think that it is intellectual sneering of the highest order to suggest that only the left has new and decent ideas.
Some of the
a couple of pretty funny shits that were in that first little bit that I found pretty funny, or maybe not funny, but kind of nonsensical and non-answers and shit like that. What'd you think so far, Juan?
This guy's very annoying to listen to. You know what? And Ben Shapiro always does this crap where he answers questions. He just rambles on, and then of course he hasn't done it yet. But where he says like a question, he answers a question with a question.
Yeah,
that he only knows the answer to.
Right, exactly. Yeah, he'll change the question to something he can answer that has nothing to do with the original question.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that stood out is when he says, "What is he?" He asked him about the president. If they're the ones, I totally missed it. I should have written it down. A professional would have written it down. Sorry.
Yeah. There's a couple of funny shits that I jotted down. Like at the beginning, he goes, he's like kind of like jerking himself off, you know, and he's like,
no, it's all just, you know,
one big jerk off, just
to make everybody look great, just to make him look great. It was like, hey, I'm fantastic.
Right.
Yes, you have 1 million followers. You're the best. And
yeah. And I think that's where the whole his exposure, like how he was kind of exposed here, because he's used to that in the United States, right? In the U.S., when you go to unless you're Bernie Sanders and you go to any left wing, right wing, they're just gonna jerk you off, and they're gonna be like, "Man, you're like, if you're like that Pete Buttigieg guy, he's like, man, you speak 7 different languages and you get fucked in the ass. You're a gay guy. I mean, it's fucking fantastic."
And it's and it's good. This interview really, like, it's great, man, because he starts with some easy softballs.
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, man, here you go. Here's a couple of lob them out of the park. Perfect.
Right.
And then it
just shit hits the fan. But even in this one, it's funny because he's like, in the beginning, he's saying that he has a problem with the mainstream media and it being this radical leftist propaganda machine kind of deal or whatever. And it's funny because if you ever watch like MSNBC or CNN or any one of these guys, when Bernie Sanders is there, they fucking attack the shit out of him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The mainstream media has always been pretty center, and moving on from that with the guy asking him about how the right doesn't have any ideas or whatever, and Ben Shapiro's like, we got a bunch of ideas, and we have ideas about like these new ideas. Like the guy's asking about how come the right doesn't have any new ideas, and he's like, well, we got a bunch of ideas about what the appropriate action on the healthcare situation is. And it's like, cool, what's the idea?
And if global warming should be considered a threat?
Is it real? Is it not real? Is there technology that would fix it? Who knows? And it's like, cool, man. I'm glad to know that like political scientists are trying to figure out whether or not global warming is a real threat or we should take it seriously, right? And the thing is, it's funny, is that he's saying, no, we have ideas. Here is a bunch of non-ideas to prove that we have ideas. And there's a bit that he's all like, this conversation about populism versus free marketeerism that doesn't make any sense, like comparing the two, because populism is just like the will of the people, right? And free market is like he's talking about the economy now, like two totally different things. And he's trying to juxtapose them. He's trying to be like, well, what, do you want to have populism or do you want to have free marketeerism? And it's like, wait, you're talking about two different topics, bro. Yeah. What the fuck's going on here? But yeah, so far it's been pretty tame.
It's tame.
He hasn't lost a shit yet. So let's wait for it.
Ideas that are popular in your side of politics. would seem to take us back to the Dark Ages, Georgia, new abortion laws, which you are much in favor of, that a woman who miscarries could get 30 years. A Georgian woman who travels to another state for an abortion procedure could get 10 years. These are extreme hard policies.
Well, okay, a couple of things. One, I'm not sure. I mean, frankly, I don't know whether are you an objective journalist or are you an opinion journalist?
I'm a journalist that asks questions.
Okay, so you're a supposedly objective journalist calling policies with which you disagree barbaric and suggesting only one side of the political aisle has ideas. So I just want to point out that I wish you would at least be honest in your own biases.
Mr. Shapiro, I know that broadcasting in America is now so polarized that on one program you only have the left and another one you just have the right. My job is to question those who have strong views and put an alternative to them. If you were an anti-abortion person, I would be putting pro-abortion questions to you. But you
it's already starting to hit the fan, right? And this is fantastic.
And he doesn't answer the question, but
he doesn't. Like, he starts off blatantly like, okay, cool, you asked a question, let me attack your character real quick. You know what I mean? Are you opinion journalist, or are you supposed to be unbiased?
You know who does that? Females do that. You ask them a question, not to be, oh fuck, I'm a horrible person. No, but you know what I mean, man? You ask a chick something and they're like, they look at the deeper meaning. It's like, bro, I'm asking a question.
Yeah, it's all like, hey, where'd you buy your shoes? Hey, do you want to fuck my feet or something? You know what I mean? You sick pervert. And it's like, whoa, man, relax. I just so happened to cross-dress on the weekends. I meant no offense. You know?
Yeah, he's looking. I mean, I get it. He's asking, like, his suggestion that they're barbaric rituals and all sorts of stuff about them, you know, abortions and. But I mean, answer the damn question. You know what I mean?
Right. And the thing and this guy points it there, and he tells you what he's doing. He tells him what he's doing already. And the thing is, because Ben Shapiro's already gearing up to be like, he's already starting to establish the narrative in this conversation that, oh, you're attacking me because you're on the left. You know what I mean? Like, he's already saying it, like, you're not, you know, unbiased. You're clearly biased because you're asking me questions. You're asking me questions that I don't agree with. And you're asking them in a way that make me look bad. So and then, you have to be fighting me right now.
Yeah, and then he says, like, hey, in America, you got your left, extreme right. And he's basically saying, why am I going to ask you a pro-abortion question?
If you're pro-abortion.
You know what I mean? Like, it makes no sense. Like,
and I don't know, like, I hate Ben Shapiro, but he's a product of the American political environment, right? That's the way it is here. And with the media, if you go to him, like, if you're, like, he does not have to answer for his beliefs, really. He doesn't have to answer it. The only time he answers to it is when he's at a college and some fucking 17-year-old that doesn't know shit.
It's somebody that he could rape. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's somebody that he could just force himself into.
I think I said it better.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, I was just saying it in a roundabout way.
I get it.
But yeah, so he's getting kind of pushed right now, and he's kind of in the corner, and he put himself there.
Yeah.
Right, that's all he didn't have to be in this situation. He could have just answered the question.
He's already has his gloves up, and he's like, "Hey, espérate, cálmate, bro."
And they're still super simple questions, right? Yeah. Like, if he was true to himself and true to his beliefs, he would have been able to respond in kind.
But there's no way to answer that without agreeing with him saying that, yes, it is a barbaric.
Right. Well, I mean,
that's why I get it. There's no way for him to do it.
Right. There's no way to justify his position.
And it's
without
also
sounding horrific.
It's also, I mean? It's exact. It's the way he asked. So Ben Shapiro's right, but.
Well, I don't think he's right. The thing is that this guy, because this dude is trying to say, here's the other side. This is what these people think of you. Right. This is their position. Mm-hmm. How do you defend yourself against that position?
He can't.
Exactly. So, which is the problem? It's not the problem of the way the question's being answered or the question is being asked. The problem is with his position. If the position is undefendable, like if you cannot defend your position, then you have a shitty position. You know what I mean?
It's a shitty position. There's no. I mean, if you think about the outcome, how can he answer that? Well, all he has, if he says no, I don't think it's barbaric. It's like saying, like, well, obviously
Why?
it is. You know what I mean?
Wait, or just be like, why do you think it's not barbaric? Because that's what he's saying. He's like, why do you think it's not barbaric to have people that are raped, have people
and exactly
that,
like it's
you know
super
what I mean?
barbaric. Dude.
Yeah. Why do you think it's not barbaric that like that case with the 11-year-old girl that I was telling you about? She was raped in Georgia. Georgia just passed this bill that does not have any kind of stipulations to protect against that. So this 11-year-old girl, as the law is written right now, has to carry the child to term and deliver the baby that she was, you know what I mean? Which is fucked up.
Yeah.
That's super fucked up.
Who was the rapist?
I don't know. Ben Shapiro. I don't know. That's slander, right?
It's probably somebody that knows her at least.
I mean, yeah,
Like,
probably.
you know, like a relative.
More than likely.
It's Georgia.
Yeah, it is Georgia. And I don't want to cast any dispersions on the Georgian people, but you guys are fucking sick up there.
Well, at least they don't have cow footers.
Well, I mean,
I'm sure they do.
I mean, because the cows can have abortions in Texas, right? So yeah, let's keep going because it does get better. And he does something here that I want to get into, which is pretty fantastic. Let's keep going.
Really, would you call the pro-choice position?
So why don't you
let me
just
ask you
answer
this.
my question?
Sir, I'm happy to answer your question. Please answer this one. Would you suggest that a late-term abortion is brutal?
I'm not taking a view on this issue. I'm asking you the questions.
Sir, you just suggested that the pro-life position is inherently brutal and terrible, so I'm asking you, as an objective journalist, would you ask the same question to a pro-choice advocate by calling their position brutal and horrible?
What I'm asking you is that why is it that a bill banning abortions after a woman has been pregnant for 6 weeks is not a return to the dark ages?
All right. So this is I should have maybe let it go. So this is where he did something that I caught that I was reading about. This just so happens like maybe 2 weeks ago I was reading about this, and ironically it's about the postmodernist movement that Ben Shapiro like riles against. It's a form of argumentation called the Mott and Bailey argument, and the way it's described, a Mott and Bailey is the way like old cities were organized back in the day, like when there was kingdoms and shit. The Bailey is where the commons are, and it's usually lower ground, very hard to defend, easily to get fucked, right? Hard to defend is the key term here. And the Mott is the keep, high up, easy to defend. And the Mott and Bailey argument is you have a stance, that's your Bailey. In this case, his Bailey, his extreme point is that abortion should never occur ever under any circumstances, which is a difficult thing to defend, right? That's his Bailey. And whenever you get attacked on that point, he retreats back to the Mott, which that part of the argument is he asks him, are you okay with late-term abortions? Nobody's okay with that. Yeah. Right? No, I'm not. No, it's that way easier to defend that. Like, you can't be like 9 months pregnant and be like, I don't want this kid anymore. Get it out of me. Yeah. Fucking shoot it in the head.
It's considered a life already. It's
ta grande. Yeah. The kid, the kid's just about to walk away. Yeah. Right? So he retreats back into an easier like point of defense where he can argue this and be like, well, you know, if this is okay, then that should be okay, kind of deal, which is kind of a false equivalency.
It's like Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it's with the Mott and Bailey, with that imagery. But yeah, I caught that and I was like, man, what like the universe works that way. You know what I mean? I was reading about it because I don't have a life, and then I see it in action. I'm like, oh shit, this is the thing. Yeah. Fucking Ben Shapiro, you fucking cocksucker.
Well, of course he's gonna retreat back to whatever
is easier to defend.
Yeah, he can't defend the other one because, you know.
The issue here is because it's not necessarily a bad thing to do that, but the issue is to draw an equivalency, and which is what he was trying to do there, and be like, okay, like let me see common ground, right? Like you can't say this isn't fucked up. So like let me have you agree with this, and then I can come back to this and be like, well, that huh? Right?
Yeah, but I mean that's not the point,
right? Exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's where it becomes a kind of almost a fallacy because there is no, it's not the point. Like the point isn't late term abortions. He's talking specifically about 6 weeks, and now you're bringing it back to something more defensible that we all agree on, which is like pointless. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out to all the logic freaks that listen to this podcast.
What's your answer?
My answer is something called science. Human life exists at conception. It ought to be protected. Now, back to my question to you. You purport to be an objective journalist. BBC purports to be an objective down-the-middle network. It obviously is not. It never has been. And you as a journalist are proceeding to call one side of the political aisle ignorant, barbaric, and sending us back to the dark ages. Why don't you just say that you're on the left? Is this so hard for you? Why can't you just be honest?
Mr.
Seriously,
Shapiro,
it's a serious question.
Mr. Shapiro, if you only knew how ridiculous that statement is, you wouldn't have said it. So let's move on. Would you vote
I
for
think
Mr.
it's pretty evident from your
Would
own
you vote
questions
for
exactly
Mr.
what you are, sir.
Trump?
All right. So this is funny for a couple of different reasons. It's funny because his answer to it is science.
Science.
Just by itself.
Science!
Right? Yeah. You're just going to start asking people, answering questions like that. Like at my job, I work in a call center, right? So whenever somebody calls and they're like, hey, how come this happened? Well, it's called science. Sir. Have you heard of it?
I think I can do that too in my job.
Yeah.
Like, hey, why is the internet science, bro?
It's science. Don't question it. It just so happens that science correlates directly to my moral opinions.
Yeah. And it's difficult. I get it, man. Life, like you'd say that it starts at conception, but it does. I've seen all that stuff about like babies being born and how it begins, and I don't know, man.
The thing is, it is absolutely. I agree. It's a difficult question, right?
Yeah.
But that does not mean you have to bullshit your way into coming up with a moral dictation for everyone to follow and not be able to justify it.
You know what I don't understand? I need you to explain this to me. What's the point of all this left, all this right, pro-abortion, pro-life? Why can't it just be up to the person, man?
Oh, okay.
Like, why does it have to be sides in order to get a political agenda like on there? Like, I don't get it. Like, why is this such a huge political
It started,
point?
I think it was back in the 80s. Was it the 80s? I think it was with Bush. It was Reagan. And it's a funny story. It was a tactic that they used. It was a political tactic because Reagan in California, if any history buffs listen to this, was pro-choice. Like he was straight up.
So that's why he won those votes.
He was pro-choice. He signed bills in California, for pro-choice. And when he was coming up for re-election and stuff, it turned out that they tapped kind of like the Southern strategy. I don't even remember the whole concept of that, where they were like, let's go pander to the racists in the South or whatever. Like straight up, that was a political strategy. What they did was, let's pander to the evangelicals, right? So let's go to the religious nuts because they have huge followings and a lot of influence, right? And they're all pro-life. And you would see literally night and day Reagan go from pro-choice to pro-life. And all these Republicans started going, because a lot of the Republicans, like, if people don't know this, Republicans used to be hardcore pro-choice because they believed in small government. Actual Republicans, conservatives, are like, keep the government away from your business. That's their whole idea, right? That's supposed to be conservatism, right? Don't let the government interfere with you too much. Small government. Yeah. And when they were trying to get votes from the evangelicals, it switched. And it was like, now they care about it a lot, because they want those votes, because they're easy votes and there are a lot of them, That's kind of where it started, because of politics. And the conservatives were pro-choice at one point, back in the 70s and the 80s and shit. But that all got fucked because...
Man, but if somebody wants to get rid of their baby, there's easier ways to do it.
Yeah, just shoot it.
Do it yourself, man.
Yeah, just coat hang that shit. No, it's fucked up.
Fucked up, man. It's fucked up. But it's like, hey, man, why can't we go back to that life? Like, why does it have to be consequences? It's their choice, man. If they want to fuck it up, I get it, because then there's like, there's always somebody that wouldn't want that life. Why is it your choice to get rid of it?
But here's the thing that's bizarre to me that these people espouse, and I've never understood, and it's a super lefty thing because I'm a leftist, not a liberal, by the way, but a leftist. They really care about you when you're a baby inside the woman. But after you're out, they don't give a flying fuck about you anymore.
Yeah, that's a good point, man.
That's some hot takes for you, bitches. Anyways, but yeah, this dude, man, like he's... Okay, another funny thing about this is that he calls this guy a fucking leftist, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Andrew Neil is a fucking hardcore conservative. Like he's pro-life. He's a Tory in England, which is like the rightest of the right wing, right? And this fucking dipshit is like, because you're asking me questions that are contrary to my beliefs, that must mean you're a leftist and I don't have to talk to you, which runs completely contrary to the whole point of his book, which is supposed to be, we should listen to each other more, yada, yada, yada. You know what I mean? Yeah. So this interview is a shit show on so many different levels. It's fantastic. Let's keep going here.
Would you vote for Mr. Trump in 2020?
I'd certainly consider voting for Mr. Trump in 2020, just like I'd consider voting for anybody else in 2020.
But didn't you once say that you'd never vote for him?
I said that I wouldn't vote for him in 2016. And then I wrote a column for National Review explaining the conditions under which I might change my mind.
You're a culture war warrior. Isn't he largely on your side? You wrote once it was unlikely he'd appoint conservative judges to the Supreme Court. He has.
Right.
So you were wrong.
I like many of President Trump's policies, even if I still have serious reservations about his personality and character.
Do you think there's a Democrat that could beat him in 2020?
Sure, I think there are several Democrats who could beat him in 2020.
Who would have the best chance?
I think that Joe Biden is likeliest to beat him, considering that he has significant appeal in a lot of the Rust Belt, in places like Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, the places that President Trump needs to win to retain the presidency. And Joe Biden also has a long history in politics, which means that the American people already have sort of a preconceived vision of him. President Trump, as a campaigner, is very good at dragging unknowns through the mud, or at exposing details about people that are previously sort of covered up. But when it comes to Joe Biden, he's been well exposed for a very long time. Most people know him, and he's not nearly as unpopular even going in as Hillary Clinton was in 2016.
So if it was a close race between Mr. Biden and Mr. Trump, you would, from what you say, I think, probably go for Mr. Trump.
Yes, I would vote for Mr. Trump if it were a race between Biden and Trump, because I think that the damage that President Trump has done to the country on a character and rhetorical level has already been done and cannot be undone. I don't see it as getting worse day by day. That is the new status quo, unfortunately. Now the question becomes which policies I would most like to see enacted, and Trump's policy preferences are closer to my own than Joe Biden's are.
Now, you're...
What?
That's a nuts. I get it. At least he's being honest here. He's not being he's saying straight up what he believes.
Yeah.
And I respect that, but it's fucking nuts. Right?
That's a crazy outlook in life, dude. Like, he's saying shit is so fucked up.
That's the new normal. So
I don't want to start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Let's just finish this life. It is what it is. That's it.
Let's not try to fix it. Let's not try to get somebody. And to a certain extent, I understand where he's coming from.
No, it's like, bro, it's like, imagine if you're building a house.
Right.
And you've started fucked up. You've cut costs on nails and wood, and it's dilapidated. Se viene un aire, you're going to lose your fucking house. You're like, no, man, this is the norm. I'm going to live in this fucking shit house and die in it. I'm not gonna rebuild it. Ni modo.
Ni modo.
¿Qué le hago, güey?
Ya valió verga, güey. That's basically what he's saying, right?
Fucked up, man.
Ya valió verga.
Ya valió verga.
Ni modo. Let's just say maybe the house doesn't fall on me. It might fall on my neighbor. If that happens, fantastic. You know what I mean? No, but I think to the core what he's trying to say and is that this... Because, okay, what he's trying to say is that, okay, yes, Donald Trump is...
He admitted he's a fuck up.
Yeah, he did. Like, in terms, not policy-wise, in terms of who he is out, like, as a person or whatever. And sure, I think we can all agree on that.
Mm-hmm.
The issue is, me being a leftist, is that his policies are bad also. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing good about him. But... like he's saying, Joe Biden might go for it, which to me, as a leftist, I keep saying it. I don't know, but
the more you say it, the stupider it sounds.
I know, right?
Like, I'm left-handed. I don't keep on saying it.
I know. You do though.
Dad joke.
we should have like a theme song or something, just like a little clip. Dad jokes. Dad jokes. Dad jokes.
I'm full of them, man.
Yeah.
So you were saying,
right? The policies are bad. And what I'm terrified of is that on my side, people are going to pick someone like Joe Biden that is like center. Like he's straight up. He's not even like on the left. He's pretty center right, kind of like Hillary Clinton. He's like for big banks. And the fucked up thing about Joe Biden is that he's always sided with the banks when it comes to deregulation, when it comes to like the credit card bill, that was like they were trying to limit the interest rates that credit cards can charge. No, I'm sorry. It was about if you are an individual and you rack up credit card debt, you cannot file for bankruptcy when it's credit card debt and student loans. Like if you have a student loan and you're not making any money, you can't find a job, you can't go bankrupt. You're fucked.
Fucked up.
Yeah. So Joe Biden was like, well, that's too bad. And the thing that's fucked up about Joe Biden is he has never received any money from the banks. He has not been bought by the banks. He just legitimately believes they should screw everyone over. You know what I mean? Like on his own. Doesn't need any money from the banks. He'll just be like, yes, fuck all these people as a point of principle. You know what I mean? Which is way worse. You know what I mean? But that's just my opinion. It has nothing to do with what he's saying. I respect the fact that he's saying straight. And I kind of agree with him in terms of who's likely to get the nomination, probably Joe Biden, because most people on the left are, what I see at least, they just want to go back to normal, which is Obama, which is George Bush, which people don't remember. George Bush was way worse than fucking Donald Trump, man. And so was fucking, when you want to talk about kids getting, like, families getting, people getting deported, people getting all, Obama was worse than fucking Trump. You know what I mean? People don't remember that because they're so scared because he's vulgar and he sounds stupid.
He does.
You know, and that's the only thing that separates him. Like, policy-wise, Obama had much worse policies in terms of immigration. In terms of foreign policy, fucking Bush, fucking the wars that he was waging, millions of people died. Way worse than Trump is. But because Trump is vulgar and because Trump is stupid, people are like, no, man, we have to have a nice guy fucking kill millions of people. You know,
I don't know how to spin it, man.
Yeah, that's the thing. And this
put a filter on that, dude.
Exactly. That's literally the only issue with Trump. If Trump knew how to put a filter on it and knew how to spin it, we'd all be happy.
The thing is that it's scary when you hear the truth.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And it's mask off for a lot of these people. Since Trump came out, it's just like, oh, fuck, I could just be honest about me being fucking crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is horrifying.
It's horrifying,
but
man.
it's what they do anyways. You know what I mean? But yeah, let's keep going here.
A star of new media, of conservative new media, you and others on the left and the right, you position yourselves as supposed tellers of hard truths. But haven't you all just really coarsened public discourse in America and exacerbated its divisions?
You know, it's kind of odd to be hearing about me coarsening public discourse when you call policies you disagree with brutal and bringing us back to the Dark Ages, sir.
The point...
You did it again.
Yeah, he did it again.
So this guy's asking him a question about, which is a legitimate question, right? Like, you're saying that you want people, once again, you want people to, you know, be able to have discourse, but you say and do things that are contrary to that. And he goes, his response to that, well, you too? ¿Tú también, man? Oh, no.
I don't like that he's generalizing Ben Shapiro to like America, dude. Like he's like,
well, he's generalizing Ben Shapiro as the right.
Yeah, but he says the left and the right, you and America. And Ben Shapiro just takes it to where he's like, yeah, I'm
America.
I'm the face of America.
Well, it's because he's an egotistical psychopath.
It's crazy, man. Like he doesn't even argue with that.
No. Like, I don't know if you noticed, but prior to this, when he was all like, "Oh, Ben Shapiro destroys," and he smiles, he's all like, "That's true. I destroyed them." Fucking psycho, man. These people are sick freaks, dude. All right. He probably fucks with his clothes on too, man. I'm telling you, dude. He looks like that type of person. I'm just saying, man.
I don't see what's wrong with that.
With like a burlap sack.
Sometimes you got to be places, man.
I get you, man. I get you.
I don't want to return to it, but the point was to put a position for you to reply to it. And I thought we covered that.
That's...
Well, I'll put some of the points too, because on your videos,
characterization of issues is part of the problem in the coarsening of public debate.
Well, maybe it's also part of your problem too, because we have from your YouTube videos, Ben Shapiro destroys the abortion argument. Ben Shapiro destroys transgenderism and abortion. Is that not a kind of coarse public discourse?
Well, are those videos labeled by me?
I have no idea. But
Why are you picking out? Why are you? I have a question. Why are you picking out random YouTube videos put up by people who are not me?
Are you
and then attributing the titles to me?
Are you unhappy with the way they've been described?
I think that people can describe me however they please. It's a free country, and I'm all in favor of a public debate. If you watch the actual clips, they are generally civil conversations between me and somebody who disagrees with me.
You say in your new book, you suggest that America's largest struggle at the moment is, quote, the struggle.
Just for the record, I love how this guy just keeps going.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not going to argue with you. You've already answered. You dug yourself into this hole.
Yeah. He just keeps going, cool. You're making yourself out to be like a fucking dumbass. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Like that's fantastic interviewing. Because he's not even getting, because Ben Shapiro keeps throwing the line. Right, he wants him to argue with him about, no, I'm not a leftist, bro. I'm not like that. That's not me, man. I'm just asking you. No, he's like, cool, we'll move on. You know what I mean? It's fantastic.
He's taking the high road, man. That's how you do it.
Well, he's not even taking it. He's just like, cool. That's your answer. Cool. Here's another question.
It's like a doctor visit, right?
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
going down the list.
Yeah, exactly. He's just like, cause he has a list of questions, and he's just like looking at him. He's like, all right, you failed that one. Let's keep going.
It's a job
for our national soul.
Yeah, what?
It's a job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Can you imagine? Like this guy probably hates his job too. He's like, fuck, it's fucking Thursday, man.
Who do we got on the list today? Ben Shapiro, Mariah Carey.
I
don't know.
Miss Carey, you once characterized your relationship with what's that guy's name? The guy from
I don't know why I said Mariah Carey.
I know, but I'm trying to go along with it now. You know what? I failed. Never mind.
What was she banging?
What was it? Carter? What was that guy's name?
Jimmy Carter?
No, not Jimmy Carter, the president. The fellow who was Stomp the Yard guy. What's his name? The actor.
Oh, the guy with the bigote?
Yes.
Reynolds? No.
Fuck.
Reynolds?
No. He's an African American fella.
Oh, I'm thinking about another movie.
Shit. I don't know. You know what? It doesn't matter. It would have been a fantastic joke if I would have known what the guy's name was. I promise you all. Anyways.
Okay, you guys Google it and then you'll figure out what it is.
Yeah, man. Put it in the comments if I put this in what's the guy? Aaron Carter?
Nobody knows what the fuck you're talking about.
Mariah Carey's husband, Nick Cannon. God, I'm an idiot.
Nick Cannon, yeah.
Not even close.
Started with a C though.
Yeah, I'm not even, you know what?
What were we talking? What about Mariah Carey?
I was going to make a joke about him giving Mariah Carey really difficult questions about Nick Cannon, but it's the time has passed. It's just forget it.
Moving on.
We are so angry at each other right now. And I think that's true. I've just returned from the United States. But aren't you part of the problem with the way you go about your discourse, not the solution?
I think we can all do better in our discourse, but the fact that I've reached out to so many people across the aisle to have conversations with them is pretty evident. The fact that I was willing to walk from a publication that was paying me money over principle is pretty evident. The fact that I've called out President Trump, a member of a party of which I am a member, repeatedly when I think that he has done things that are immoral, I think is decent evidence that I'm looking at least for a civil conversation.
Well, as you say in your book, you say that there's quite a key phrase, we are so angry at each other right now. But as I say, aren't you part of that anger? Aren't you encouraging that anger? For example, you described Mr. Obama's State of the Union address in 2012 as fascist mentality in action.
Well, I think that if you want to argue with the characterization, then we can talk about what exactly his State of the Union address said. Is it charged language in politics? Sure. The problem that I have is not with charged language in politics, which I'm generally in favor of. I like a robust public debate and a very loud and spirited public debate. I have no problem with that whatsoever. What I'm talking about is the assumption that people with whom we disagree politically are inherently of bad character or, in your words, want to bring us back to the dark ages.
But again, it was your description of the State of the Union address in 2012 as fascist.
The wording of President Trump's 2012 address was bad and wrong.
There are plenty of things that are bad and wrong, but it doesn't make them fascist.
Well, I suppose that's true. But if you would like to, again, if you'd like to read me the column out loud, I suppose I can critique it for you.
Well, again, with Mr. Obama, you said, and you're Jewish yourself. I only mention that because
he only mentions that because he's wearing a funny hat. I had to say it. I'm sorry. I know.
Good stuff.
in context, the Jews who vote for Obama are, by and large, Jews in name only. Ginos, you call them.
What?
He called them ginos.
Giant. Explain what that is to me.
I have no idea.
It reminds me of a vagina.
So I'm gonna retell this, and it might not sell as well. Okay, so ginos, when I hear them, I'm thinking of Jewish dinosaurs for some reason. Like I'm picturing a T-Rex with a yarmulke with the little curly fries
yeah.
on the side of their head. I don't know why. Or maybe a gyro, like or a hero, I guess.
Hero.
Yeah, I call them gyros because I'm not a dirty Greek,
Yeah.
but...
Or you're not those people that go to Italian restaurants and try to order with the fucking... I hate it, dude. Italiano Roscana.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I don't go to Olive Garden and be like, yes, I'll have the tour of Italy.
Who had that joke? Was it a comedian does it, right?
Probably. But it's just people that suck. Like, I hate white people that try to pronounce... Okay, there's two things I hate. Mexican people that pronounce my name incorrectly and white people that try to pronounce my name correctly. Just, like, it's weird and it's I don't know.
How do Mexicans mispronounce it?
Like, I've heard Mexican, like, people that are Mexican that have, like, an accent and they can't speak Spanish very well, and they'll overdo it and they'll be like, servando. You know what I mean? And it's like, cool, man, awesome. And then white people that are like, servando? And it's like, just call me serve. You know what I mean? I told you to call me serve. Everyone just call me that. Don't overdo it and don't underdo it, okay?
Or... they can call you Swervelicious.
Or they could call me Swervelicious, which is my DJ name. If you guys need to book a DJ session, I do children's parties only, specifically children's parties. Yeah. Anyways, that's the whole bit. Anyways, here we go. Jew dinosaurs is a gyro.
Jew dinosaurs.
What was it? Gyno?
It's a gyno. It's a Jewish dinosaur. With a little hat and the curly fries.
Yeah, and the curly fries. But that's what the word was. He said he calls them... Is that an actual... Have you ever heard of that?
I've never heard of gynos, dude.
I mean, look it up real quick.
It reminds me of a vagina.
Gyno. Look up gyno.
It's like a giant vagina.
Yeah, like a... It's like Mothra, but a pussy, right?
It's like gyno?
Maybe.
It says gyno.
That's like a gynecologist?
Gynecomastia? Abnormal growth of... That's not it.
No, that's definitely not it. Abnormal growth of like your pituitary gland that makes you be a Jew. Right?
Gyno is a name of Italian origin. It may be sort of other Italian names like Ambrogino.
Oh, it's like a name. But okay, so this is a gyno in that they're saying that that's somebody's name. Gyno Jew, yeah.
What are we doing here,
You're
man?
gonna land yourself on like an NSA fucking watch list or something.
I'm knocking on the door, man.
Yeah. You're gonna be.
Dude, I've never heard of that. I can't find it.
Did he make it up?
Is it J-I-N-O?
Try it. Yeah, because it's Jew. Try gyno.
It's a bunch of Korean stuff, dude.
Fuck.
Oh wait, acronym for Jew in name only.
Oh, okay.
A Jew who is a Jew only because he or she came out of a Jewish vagina. That's what it says. I'm only Jewish because it came out of a Jewish vagina, bro.
The only reason I'm a Jew is because it came out of a Jew pussy, all right? I don't believe in it.
Hey, man, according to Urban Dictionary, that's what it says.
I mean, I believe it. And that's the closest one that we found so far.
It says,
right?
okay, so it says, however, the gyno does not practice Judaism in any way, shape, or form.
Okay, so
Cool.
that's
Just
that
because my
sense.
mom's Jewish.
It's because it's difficult, right? Because they're like a race and also...
Not my mom. The person we're talking about.
Don't sully my mother's name with the Jew legacy.
No me compares, güey. I'm not gonna say that. When I was in school, this I told somebody went up to this guy and he's like, "Hey, güey, tú eres Oscar." He goes, "No me compares a mierda." It's great.
So now, in the context of what we're talking about, you've just
I couldn't do it, man.
You did it though. You totally did it. Yeah, you're calling Jews mierda on this podcast.
Google it. See what it means. They're
man.
not mierdas.
No,
you know what?
man.
I actually don't know a Jewish person.
I've met a couple of them inadvertently, and I'm always grossed out. No, I'm just kidding. That's not true. That's not true. The only time I've ever met a Jew, and this is...
Maybe I do
This
know
is
a
a true story.
Maybe I do know a Jewish person.
Yeah, I know. Well, allegedly, Jay is part Jew, according to him.
I don't know who that is.
He's one of the guys that was in the previous podcast. He's a buddy of mine. He's a Jewish heritage, he said. I don't know what the fuck that means. But he knows a lot about Judaism. You know, we were talking about something, and he's all like, yeah, man, it's the... And I'm all like, huh? And he's like, yeah.
You got something in your throat, bro.
Sácalo.
Mariah Carey.
Back with Mariah Carey. But yeah, I think he's some kind of Jew. But no, the only time I ever interacted with a Jew, I was on a bus station, and I was going to Minnesota from here, and I was in Minneapolis, and there was a Jewish girl. I didn't know she was Jewish at the time, but we're there in a layover, and we started talking and stuff, and she was like a student, and I was like, oh, that's cool, man, blah, and we were talking, and she's like, yeah, my parents are like Jewish, Kentucky, and she was talking about her being a Jew, and I kid you not, she was studying accounting, which is fantastic.
Did she look like Barbara Streisand?
She had a giant nose. She did. She did. Which
cool,
she was like a walking fucking stereotype.
There's nothing wrong with Jewish people.
There's nothing wrong with being a stereotype.
Yeah,
either.
I'm a dude. I'm a short, fat Mexican dude.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. I have children out of wedlock. You know,
I will probably have diabetes.
Right. For sure.
It is.
Yeah, I will more than likely rape or murder somebody at one point in my life. Everything Trump says about us is true.
If I had the choice,
I
would get tacos.
Dude, right now I'm actually thinking about getting some on my way home.
Piratitas, güey.
The Loros. Shout out to Loros Tacos. Anyways, let's keep going.
My statement was based on the fact that Jews in the United States, as an ethnic group, are largely irreligious, which is true by every single poll. Jews are the most irreligious group in the United States. As an Orthodox Jew who actually takes Judaism seriously, the point that I am making is that most Jews who are ethnically Jewish are not religiously Jewish in any context.
No. The point you were making is that Jews who vote for Obama are Jews in name only.
I said that, yes, that is correct. That Jews who voted for Barack Obama, a progenitor of the Iran deal, a person who was cracking down on religious liberty, a person who spent much of his career as president of the United States attempting to deprive Israel of the necessities to defend itself, that people, Jews who voted for President Obama, by and large, cared about Judaism far less than they did about other priorities.
Did you said they should turn their badge in as a Jew?
Yes, I believe that if you are somebody who takes Judaism seriously, that comes along with ideological commitment.
All right. So what he's saying there that I have a problem with is that if you're Jewish, you cannot be a Democrat. Basically,
is that what he said?
That's basically what he's saying. Because he's saying like being a Jew comes with certain moral prerequisites.
So he's saying if you're a Democrat and Jewish, you're not a real Jewish.
You're not actually a Jew. You're just a Jew. You're a Gino.
You're a Gino.
You're a dinosaur that's a Jew. You're a prehistoric beast that used to roam the earth, and now you're back, and you're only causing problems for Israel. And it's messed up, man, because he's saying like, hey, if you disagree with Israel's policies, you're not a Jew. And there's a fuck ton of people in Israel now that were born and raised there that don't agree with Netanyahu's fucking policies. That means they're not fucking Jewish, dude. You're the arbiter of religion now? Like, you're the guy that decides if you're a Jew. Can you imagine if somebody told you that as a Catholic? It's not like, hey, bro, if you don't believe, if you're not cool with priests fucking kids, you're not a real Catholic, man. You can't call yourself that. You can't go to Mass. Don't stop going to Mass. You know what I mean? It's fucked up, man.
It's fucked up.
Yeah, of course, it's an extreme example.
But that and I don't go to Mass. So.
Yeah, me either. I am, by definition, only a Catholic in name.
We need a name like Gino for Catholics.
Catholic in... Kino, yeah. Or a Sino. Sino.
Whatever.
We're Sinos. All right.
I guess.
Also, I hope you're having fun, by the way, going through every old tweet that I've ever sent to try and gotcha questions. But if you'd like to have a discussion about my general philosophy or things I've done in say...
Dude, I'm having fun.
You know, he reminds me of... You heard Conan do his nerd impression?
Yes.
Oh, God, dude. It's Ben Shapiro.
Yeah.
He picks up his glasses.
Have you ever heard him do the alien impression?
I remember.
Okay, so he does this alien impression where he's making fun of the producer, the guy that he's always talking shit to.
Oh,
Jordan Schlansky. Yeah. And he's all like, we're calling from
Oh, yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
planet C69. Prepare for war.
Awesome. You heard his podcast, by the way? It's
Whose?
Conan's podcast.
Conan's got a podcast?
It's great, dude.
I need to check it out.
It's called something about Conan needs a friend. I think that's what it's called.
Really?
It's dude. It's good stuff, man. Salud. Bless you.
But yeah, fucking dude. As a side note, I might be going on a tangent here, but the Conan Schlansky saga, it's fucking fantastic. It's fucking fantastic, dude. Like, I love where there's one where I love the ones where they show Schlansky breaking character and he just starts cracking up, and
it's good stuff.
It's fantastic, man.
Have you seen the stuff with Sona? I think that's her name.
Yeah,
it's good stuff, man.
I saw the one where she lost her cup.
I haven't seen that.
Okay, so she lost one of her like coffee cups, or somebody stole it or something, and Conan's trying to look for it, and he goes up to one worker or whatever, and he's talking to her about it, and he asks her, has anyone ever stolen shit from you? And she goes, yeah. And she pulls out like a bottle of whiskey. He's like, I marked it right here. And he's all like, you're drinking on the job? There's another one that was funny.
I saw the one with the car. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, with that guy.
She calls him a dick.
Yeah,
on camera. It's great. It's a great relationship.
There's yeah, because he starts tearing her car apart. He's like breaking shit off of it. There's one where he's going down the list of all the employees and trying to get rid of people, and the shtick that like at the end he's always asking him like, who would you get rid of, and he has a list and it's always Jordan Schlansky or whatever. Everyone's voting for him. But there was one where the guy was asking, Conan was asking him, is like, hey, he goes, hey, if there was a fire, do you think you'd be able to carry me out or whatever? And he's like, yeah, I just plop you over my shoulder like a big like sack of potatoes or whatever. And he's all like, sack of potatoes? Are you saying that because I'm Irish? It's just like a sack of potatoes or whatever. And then the guy's like, I mean, no, like he starts cracking up, right? And he's like, I mean, it could be a bag of anything. And then Conan's like, a bag of shit maybe? And he's like, yeah, sure. And he's all like, what? You just called me shit? Like, you call me a bag of shit? And he's like, man, what the fuck's wrong with you? It's funny because they're all his employees, right?
Conan, man.
Yeah. I would love to work there, man.
It'd be great, right?
Yeah. It's pretty funny. All right, that was a little bit of a tangent or an aside. Sorry. Let's keep going.
No, that was 2012. So it's now 2019. If you'd like to discuss something I've done in, say, like the past 5 years, why don't we do that? How about that?
Because your book is a criticism of how angry America is and how America has to do better. And I'm simply
I have an entire list on my website, sir. On my list, I have an entire website of dumb, bad things that I've said. I'm simply trying to point out some of the things you've said that seem to me to help to stoke that anger. For example, you said, sure, Israelis like to build, Arabs like to bomb crap and live in open sewage. Well, as I say in an article entitled, here's a list of all the giant, bad, dumb things I've ever said.
Was that dumb?
Well, yes, that's a dumb tweet. And not only, but it is also important to mention that the next few tweets clarify that tweet is specifically referring to the Hamas leadership, which, by the way, a BBC I've seen is relatively reticent to condemn.
No, actually. All
right, so that's fantastic because his response to it is like, hey, man, I said it was dumb already. And then he goes on to say, but you guys haven't said anything either, right? Yeah. So it's like, cool, you've said nothing to defend yourself outside of saying, yeah, I already said it was dumb. Cool. So at that point, it should have been, what he should have said was like, yes, it was something that was stupid that I said. You're right. It was dumb and I've already fessed up to it. Cool. And that would have been it. Because the guy was like, cool, it's dumb. But no, he had to like move it forward. Like, but you also said, you haven't said anything bad about Hamas. You haven't openly condemned them. I have no idea. I don't watch BBC if they have or haven't. But that's not the point, Ben Shapiro. Dude, you get on your game, dog. Mm-hmm. You're disappointing me, man. There's people out there that love you, right? We have a brother-in-law.
Probably.
You know, that's a big fan of yours, apparently.
Oh, is it? Really?
Well, didn't you tell me that what's his face that I don't want to mention on this podcast? That he liked Ben Shapiro? Anyways.
I think I remember the conversation. I hope he never hears this.
No, he won't.
He's a good guy.
No, he's not. No, he's he's fine.
Ribs, bro.
Fuck you, that's true, man. Those fucking... Now he knows that we're talking about him. Who else are we talking about? It could have been any one of us 4 people. Man.
There's only 2 people that are not
true.
here.
Yeah, that's true. Anyways.
All right.
You went on.
We could just say flat Earth, bro.
Oh, that's true.
Confusion.
Yeah. You know, I had a conversation with somebody today.
About flat Earth?
About flat Earth. Apparently, like, there's a guy, a coworker, that's a flat earther. And Jay, my buddy, he's like, that guy's a flat earther, bro. And I was like, what? Now you're fucking with me. And he's all like, yeah, dude, like, he's a straight up flat earther. And he like, we started talking or whatever. And like, one of the arguments that he says or whatever is like, if I put a ball on the ground and it doesn't roll away, that means the earth is flat and we're not moving. And I was like, oh, okay. So if you're driving and I put a basketball on the floor of the car and it doesn't move, that means what? That means that the car's not moving? Is that what you're trying to say? Because that's what you're implying, asshole. Come on, bro. Jesus, fuck. You know?
What was his counter argument? Did he say anything? No.
Yeah, we're all just joking around, I guess. But apparently, that's why I didn't believe that he actually is one, because he wasn't serious about it. But he
saw a video.
Yes.
And he was like,
several.
bro, it's true, bro.
It's true. Yeah.
I already ordered the shirt, bro.
Yeah. And another thing that I've said to people is like, if you're driving at 90 miles an hour, right, and you have a ball in your hand, and that ball, if you hold it up and it doesn't shoot out the back of the window because you're going 90 and that ball's not moving, right? That just defeats your entire fucking argument completely, man. Anyway,
like in the documentary, you've seen it, right?
Yes.
With the light at the end, how it ends, it's basically like
you're wrong.
It ends saying like, "Hey, man, like you're wrong." You know what I mean?
No, the one so the documentary we're talking about is called Under the Dome.
Yeah,
it's on Netflix. Everyone should watch.
Dome Depot.
This is another tangent, but it's an important one because it's a fantastic fucking documentary. There's a bit that was my favorite was when they're talking about the gyroscope.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Okay, so there's the guys like, and these dudes are engineers. They're scientists, they're engineers, and they know it's like, okay, cool. If the whole flat Earth or the whole fucking globe of an Earth is fucking, this nonsense is true, this gyroscope should tilt at 15 degrees per hour.
Yeah.
If it's spinning or whatever. And they do it. They buy this fucking $15,000 laser gyroscope that's on airplanes. And they set it, and fucking the guy's all like, fucking dude, wouldn't you know it? 15 degrees per fucking hour. And then they're like, there has to be something wrong, right? And their argument was, it's not the Earth that's spinning, it's the entire universe that's spinning, and the radiation from the universe is causing that gyroscope to sway at 15 degrees or whatever. So they're like, okay, we're gonna encase this in some fucking whatever, it doesn't matter, some fucking thing that's supposed to protect it from cosmic radiation. The specific name eludes me right now. So they do it, and fucking it's still 15 degrees per hour, and they're like, shit, fuck, okay, cool, we need to encase this in bismuth because bismuth whatever. Right, they have some argument for it. And but yeah, it was fantastic because
every time it would come out to 50 degrees.
Yeah, every time.
And they had no way to like prove that they're right. It's like, you're wrong, man.
And it's showing you, they're showing themselves that they're wrong, but it's like, nope.
It must be the government conspiracy.
Yeah, it has to be. We're almost done here. Got 3 more minutes.
That's what she said.
Yeah. Well,
I promise. Said I wasn't going to do that anymore.
You did it, bro.
Sorry. Right.
Say, you are correct about the slur on Arabs. It's not all Arabs that want to live in open sewage and blow things up. It's just Palestinians, you went on to say.
No, it says the ones who take sides against Israel in the Israel-Palestinian
population is rotten to the core, you went on to say. Not Hamas, the Palestinian Arab population.
I say that by poll numbers, they elected Hamas. They educate their children in school that Israel should be obliterated, sir.
I guess.
If you want to read, honestly, this is a giant waste of time. in the sense that the entire interview is designed for you to shout slogans or old things that I've said at me. I don't see how this forwards the debate. You talk about undermining the public discourse. It seems to me that simply going through and finding lone things that sound bad out of context and then hitting them with
All right, lone things, bro. He's been pointing out a bunch of them. Don't say lone things. Mm-hmm. You're just being deliberately dishonest, you asshole. You know, he's like, hey, you found one. If it was one tweet, then I'd be like, yeah, man, this guy's being unfairly. But he has a list of them. You know what I mean? I guarantee you, if this debate, or this not even debate,
it's not even a debate, it's an interview.
Right, exactly. If this interview had gone its full length, this motherfucker would have had plenty of more examples. You know what I mean? Because he just had to, you know, the one thing I would give, I'll give Ben Shapiro props for, because I've been on this website. He does have a website with a list of shit that he regrets saying. Basically, the shit that was stupid that he said, and there's a lot of it. Mm-hmm. And it would be cool to maybe one day go through that list on this podcast. But let's keep going.
People with them is a way for you to make a quick buck on BBC off the fact that I'm popular and no one has ever heard of you.
There are not many bucks to be made on the BBC, unlike American broadcasting, Mr. Shapiro. The point I'm trying to make is that your words are hardly designed to produce the consensus and understanding that the book seems to want to produce. That's my point, that you write about, you know, Judeo-Christian culture and so on, but so much of what you've said in the past would seem to turn its back on Judeo-Christian culture.
You're lecturing me on Judeo-Christian culture after you call the pro-life position barbaric?
I just asked you a question.
And I asked you a question. You failed to answer a single one of mine.
So at this point, Ben Shapiro has forgotten that he's being interviewed. He thought that he was doing the interview, apparently. And it's funny because the response again is just like,
barbaric, bro. You said barbaric.
Yeah, exactly. You said barbaric. How dare you? How dare you question me on this interview? You know what I mean?
You haven't answered any of my questions.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man. This guy, he really fucking fucked himself on this.
Mm-hmm.
I find this whole thing a waste of time. If you want to read the book and critique the book, why don't you read and critique the book? If you want to critique me, you can think whatever you want of me.
Why don't you
frankly,
just try and
I don't
answer
care.
the
I don't frankly give a damn what you think of me since I've never heard of you.
I've never heard of you until I briefed myself for this. But that's not the issue. You have a new book out, and it's an interesting book. But my point is, your book claims that society...
Well, it'd be nice if you would quote it from time to time.
Your book is... I've done so several times, and I'm about to do so again, if you would let me just finish the question. Your book claims that society is turning its back on Judeo-Christian values.
Yeah,
what are those values? What are the values it's turning its back on?
I'm not inclined to continue an interview with a person as badly motivated as you as an interviewer. So I think we're done here. I appreciate your time.
All right. Well, thank you for your time and for showing that anger is not part of American political discourse. Now, Mr. Shapiro, we'll say goodbye.
Sarcasm at its best.
Oh, man. That was fucking fantastic. That ending was just like the cherry on top. Because so this dude is just fucking, once again, just asking him fucking questions, pointed questions, by the way. And the funniest part about this is it's in regards to a book that Ben Shapiro wrote about having conversations that are difficult, having conversations with people that don't agree with you. This dude is just giving him that side of the argument, and he just gets triggered like crazy. At the end of it, he's basically like busting out popularity points, and he's all like, nobody knows who you are. Everyone knows me and loves me. You're just trying to make money off of me because you're just jealous. You're jealous. He's a mean girl.
Yeah, you know I'm telling you, man. It's a female.
Oh, man. But yeah, dude, like, and the funny thing is, like, in this interview, Ben Shapiro did a fantastic job of destroying his own reputation and brand, in that his entire brand is about, you know, his catchphrase, facts don't care about your feelings. This all was Ben Shapiro's feelings.
Yeah.
And they were hurt badly, apparently, because he stormed out of there.
Yeah.
Just because the dude was asking, he could not handle questions. What a baby! Like, you know what I mean? There's just fucking questions, bro. Like
all I had to say was like, I'm not gonna answer that.
Yeah, or be like, hey man, like, that question, yada yada, whatever. No, but the thing is, like, again, it goes back to the same thing. If you have a point of view that's controversial and difficult to defend, you have to have a fucking justification to have that point of view. If you can't fucking justify your point of view, then you're fucked. You're fucked, man. And the thing that this did was expose the farce of his alleged intelligence. Not even intelligence, because I don't doubt that he's not intelligent, but he is not an intellect. You know what I mean? There's a difference. He's smart in his own right, but his ideas are stupid, and he has not. I don't think that Ben Shapiro has actually thought his ideas through. I think he thinks his ideas are popular, and they have made him a lot of money, so he keeps pushing those ideas, even though he can't really justify them, because he clearly can't, outside of fucking nonsense, right? Either nonsense, non sequiturs, fucking logical fallacies, all kinds of shit. This guy cannot defend himself with just basic questions. If you can't defend yourself with a basic fucking question where the guy's all like, here's the opposite, defend it. Why is the opposite point of view dumb or stupid? If you could have done that here, I would have been like, yeah, Ben Shapiro's a fucking boss. But he folded completely. He didn't even attempt to answer any of the fucking questions. So much so that he actually went out and tweeted that he apologized for the interview and that he got destroyed.
Oh man, really?
Yeah. Like, he fucking went out there and fucking like just fucking ate shit publicly. Which is, I give him props for that, at least. At least you fucking owned up. But just know that your entire facade, the edifice that is Ben Shapiro,
gone.
Well, to me it is. Well, it's been gone for a while. I just have never seen it in public display as beautifully as I've seen it in this interview.
Props to the interviewer.
Yeah, give him props. The guy, I hate this man, by the way.
The BBC did amazing.
Well, yeah. Well, this dude is not a cool guy, right? He's not cool. He's a right-wing psychopath, but he did his job very well.
Yeah.
Even though that he probably agrees with Ben Shapiro on most things, but he recognizes it's not about me agreeing with Ben Shapiro. My job is to present the opposite and try to push his point of view and see if he can defend it. That's his job as an interviewer, right? Which is true, and it's real common in England, like especially in BBC, to have this kinds of interviews where they'll just fucking throw shit at you, and you're supposed to defend it. That's the point. Mm-hmm. And Ben Shapiro's used to, again, going to Fox News and just fucking like getting his dick stroked, and it's like, cool, everyone's cool with each other. Let's walk away. Fuck the libtards, and
it's just like
peace out.
It's just like Balboa, dude.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
No, I don't.
You never seen Balboa?
The Rocky movie?
Yeah, remember Rocky's like wants to fight the dude, and the dude, they just been like giving a bunch of softballs.
Oh yeah, that's
what
true.
I mean? And then at the end, he finally fights Rocky, and he's like, "Holy shit!
Yeah,
this guy can throw."
Yeah,
and he's like 90.
Yeah. Rocky Balboa was 90. Yeah. That actually might be a pretty fantastic analogy here.
Stallone, man.
Yeah, fucking sly. Anyways, so yeah, that was that was our episode for the week. Holy shit, my God, this is only 16 minutes. Jesus. Well,
we're over an hour.
Yeah, the clip was only 16 minutes. My God,
it's good.
Yeah, it was an in-depth.
It's a good rapport we have here.
Yeah. All right, guys. So that was our bit for the week. I'm gonna upload this to YouTube and everything else. If it's on YouTube and you watch it on YouTube, smash that subscribe button. And I don't know, whatever. Y'all take care. Peace.
Bye.